Please create alternative title. The first warning came as a silence. On Valeron Station, silence was unnatural. The massive trade hub floated at the crossroads of 5-star lanes, a live day and night with the hum of engines, the chatter of thousands of species, and the constant vibration of commerce. Even when you slept, you felt the station breathing. But that morning, as I stood on the observation ring with my wife beside me, everything went quiet. No engines. No voices. No distant thrum through the metal floor. Just silence. Elias, my wife said softly, her voice rippling with that faint harmonic tone unique to her species. Something is wrong. I turned toward her. Ceres of the Eleri looked almost fragile in the pale starlight, tall and slender, her skin a smooth silver blue, faintly luminous markings tracing her temples and collarbones. To the galaxy, the Eleri were a rare and influential people, gifted with empathic resonance and long memories. To me, she was simply my wife. The woman who laughed at my terrible cooking and fell asleep with her head on my chest when the station lights dimmed. Before I could answer, the station lights flared red. Alert! Coalition authority engaged. All civilians remain where you are. My blood turned cold. The Coalition. They called themselves the Guardians of Galactic Order, but everyone knew what that really meant. They decided which species were stable, which were dangerous, and which were useful. Humans had earned the label compliant. The Eleri had not. Ceres's hand tightened around mine. They found us, she whispered. We ran. Through empty corridors and sealed marketplaces, past shuttered shops and frozen transit lines. The silence made our footsteps thunderous, every breath too loud. I could already feel it, the pressure in my skull, the low-frequency hum that accompanied Coalition suppression fields. At the docking ring, we skidded to a halt. Coalition enforcers stood between us and the ships, towering figures encased in angular black armor, their faces hidden behind mirrored visors. Energy restraints crackled in their hands. Ceres of the Eleri Concord, one of them intoned. By decree of the Interstellar Stabilization Accord, you are to be taken into custody. I stepped in front of her without thinking. She's done nothing wrong. She's my wife. The enforcer's head tilted slightly. That union is not recognized. Ceres pressed her forehead against my back, a familiar Eleri gesture of comfort. I felt her emotions ripple through me, fear, sorrow, and beneath it all, a steady resolve. Elias, she murmured, listen to me carefully. No, I said, my voice breaking. I'm not letting them take you. They moved faster than I expected. A pulse of force slammed into my chest, throwing me backward. I hit the floor hard, gasping for air as the suppression field wrapped around Ceres. Her markings flared bright white for a single heartbeat. She screamed, not in pain, but in anger. Remember this, she shouted as they dragged her away. Remember me. The silence broke then, replaced by alarms and distant chaos, but it was too late. They took my alien wife. And in that moment, something inside me shattered. 4 days after, I existed on instinct alone. I filed petitions. I sent messages. I begged every authority channel I could access for information. Every response was the same, polite, empty, final. Ceres of the Eleri has been relocated for strategic containment. Further inquiry is prohibited. Strategic containment. That was Coalition language for never coming back. Valeron Station felt haunted without her. Our quarters echoed. Her tools lay untouched. The faint glow she left behind, an Eleri resonance that lingered where they lived, slowly faded, and with it, my last sense of peace. Grief might have swallowed me entirely if not for one thing Ceres had given me. Knowledge. The Eleri believed that memory was power. Over the years, Ceres had shared fragments of her people's understanding, how thought and energy intertwined, how certain frequencies could influence technology, even biology. I hadn't understood most of it at the time. Now, I listened. I followed rumors through the underlevels and data shadows of the station. Other disappearances. Other Ileri. Scientists. Diplomats. Children. They weren't being imprisoned. They were being used. The coalition was building something vast and hidden, something that required empathic species to function. A system capable of influencing entire populations through resonance, nudging emotions, dampening resistance, enforcing obedience without fleets or bombs. A galaxy that wouldn't rebel because it wouldn't want to. I traced the project to a black site world near the galactic core. No official name. Just a designation whispered among smugglers and defectors. Node Prime. Getting there meant abandoning my old life entirely. I sold everything. Changed my identity. Joined the Free Fringe, a loose alliance of rebels, smugglers, and idealists who refused coalition rule. They didn't trust me at first. A human engineer driven by love sounded like a liability. Then I showed them what I knew. The Ileri aren't batteries, I said during one tense meeting. They're amplifiers. If the coalition finishes this network, they won't need armies anymore. A silence fell over the room. A Ketheri War veteran finally spoke. Then we have one chance. Before the network goes live. I volunteered to lead the infiltration. Not because I was the best. Because I had nothing left to lose. Node Prime hung above a dying star, its structure hidden within layers of gravitational distortion. From the outside, it looked like a smear in space, something your eyes slid past without noticing. Inside, it was a cathedral of cold light. We fought our way through drones and automated defenses, every step costing lives. I felt each loss like a weight pressing down on my chest, but I kept moving. I had to. At the heart of the facility, I felt her before I saw her. Ceres. Her presence brushed against my mind like a familiar melody half-remembered. I followed it to a vast chamber where crystalline conduits formed a web around a central platform. She was there, suspended in light. Her eyes were closed, her markings dim, cables interfaced directly with her neural crest. Dozens of other Ileri were linked nearby, their consciousnesses bound together into something vast and terrible. Ceres, I whispered. Her eyes snapped open. Elias, her voice echoed inside my head, weak but unmistakable. You shouldn't be here. I ran to her, hands shaking as I tore at the restraints. Alarms screamed. The chamber shook as coalition overseers appeared on elevated platforms. Terminate the human, one ordered. Preserve the Ileri node. I ignored them. I'm getting you out, I said. All of you. She looked at me with a sadness that broke my heart. If you sever the network like this, the feedback will cascade. Entire systems tied to the coalition grid will collapse. I froze. How many? I asked. She hesitated. Hundreds of worlds. The overseer laughed, a cold metallic sound. You see now, human. Your love has consequences. I thought of Vailron Station. Of Haven worlds crushed under silent control. Of futures stolen before they began. Ceres reached out with what little strength she had left and touched my mind. In that instant, I felt everything, the suffering of her people, the weight of forced unity, the fragile hope that someone, somewhere, would choose differently. You always told me, she said softly, that love means choosing, even when it hurts. I met her gaze. Then I made my choice. I rerouted the system. Instead of collapsing outward, the feedback turned inward into Node Prime itself. The resonance surged, shattering the conduits and overloading the control core. The Ileri network screamed as one and then went silent. The facility began to tear itself apart. I pulled Ceres into my arms as the chamber flooded with light. Around us, the Eleri fell free, collapsing but alive. Coalition overseers vanished in the chaos. We barely escaped. The aftermath reshaped the galaxy. Node Prime's destruction sent shockwaves through Coalition space. Control grids failed. Suppression fields went dark. Worlds that had lived under invisible influence suddenly woke up, confused, angry, and free. Rebellions ignited. Alliances fractured. The Coalition, stripped of its greatest weapon, retreated behind fortified borders. Ceres survived, but she was changed. The experience had left her weaker, her glow dimmer, but her spirit burned brighter than ever. We settled on a quiet world far from the core, among others who had fled or been freed. Humans. Eleri. Ketheri. Species the Coalition had once classified as problems. Sometimes, under unfamiliar stars, Ceres would take my hand and whisper, they thought taking me would preserve their order. And instead, I'd reply, they changed the fate of worlds. We never planned to be heroes. Never wanted to break empires. We just wanted to stay together. But the galaxy learned a truth it could never forget. When power takes love as leverage, love becomes rebellion. And rebellion, once sparked, can change everything.